I want him on my team. I love him on my team.
He's the one. I'm forgetting about Evans. I'm all in on this guy.
Late round pickups are the bench warmers. They're ready to join the lineup when you need them, and come week 5 when they're putting up 20, you're going to look like a genius. Now, here at Snap Count, we do the research so you can become champion. Defining what constitutes a Snap Count sleeper is simple. They have to be a late round pick. They've definitely got to be flash on the tape, and the runway has to be clear so that you can leave the rest of your league sleeping at the wheel. With that in mind, you can forget the guesswork, because we aren't throwing darts at a board and praying it'll work. These are landmines with ADP tags. No fluff, no praying to Matthew Berry for a miracle, just pure upside. So smash the like and hit subscribe, and let's get to the players.
Together, focus and intensity.
Now, we've seen this song and dance before. An Ohio State route technician slipping into a veteran offense where single coverage is part of the job. This isn't a project, this is Snap Count Gold. Emeka Egbuka shows up with 4 years of real production, a pro-ready route tree, and one of the most efficient resumes in college football. 14 yards per catch, nearly 300 touches, and no gimmicks. He lined up outside, worked the slot, took jet sweeps and deep posts, and he made it all look easy.
Egbuka, first down, inside the 20, on his feet, Egbuka, touchdown Ohio State.
Now he walks into the perfect setup in Tampa. Evans still commands safety help. Godwin draws coverage underneath, and that leaves Egbuka with space and matchups he can win every Sunday. And Baker Mayfield? Oh, he just threw 41 touchdowns, and he loves feeding the slot receiver. Egbuka's breakout wasn't a fluke in college. He torched defenses for 1,151 yards and 10 scores, while Marvin Harrison Jr. was on the same field. He's done it as a number 2, and he'll do it again. Give him 40 snaps and breathing room, because he's not just a sleeper. He's a wide receiver 52 missile hiding in plain sight. Now, the Texans didn't just grab a wideout at pick 34. They grabbed a starter in a top 5 offense with a rocket-armed quarterback and 2 wide receivers who are on some pretty short leashes. Tank Dell's rehabbing another leg injury. Christian Kirk's on a 1-year deal, and Jaden Higgins is already repping with the starters, and he's not being eased in. In 2024, he racked up 87 catches, over 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns, and soaked up a 33% target share at Iowa State. He led all FBS receivers in PFF grade, and his career dominator rating ranks top 10 in this rookie class. In other words, he's not just productive, he's the kind of receiver who tilts coverage. At 6'3" with real vertical juice and strong hands in traffic, Higgins is built to punish soft zones and win on the boundary. What makes him lethal for fantasy is his yard after catch ability in an offense that thrives on rhythm, space, and precision. While defenses bracket Collins and Kirk operates underneath, Higgins will be running free down the seam. If he logs even 60% of the snaps early, he'll outproduce his ADP 133 by October. Because Houston didn't draft a project, they drafted Stroud's next weapon, and the fantasy world won't sleep on him for long.
Shaheed is trying to turn the corner, and he does. Showing off that speed, Shaheed inside the 20.
Now, I know, it's rare to see this kind of speed getting drafted in double-digit rounds, let alone at ADP 145 overall. I mean, you don't get about 17 yards per catch, 3 years of solid, consistent per-play production, and verified 21.3 mile-per-hour GPS track speed unless the market's been sleeping. Rashid Shaheed isn't a breakout waiting to happen, because he's already done it. Since 2022, he's posted over 1,500 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns in just 33 games, while rarely playing over 70% of the snaps. And he did it all in an offense that had no identity under Brian Johnson. In 2024, Derek Carr and the Saints were stuck in neutral. The play calling lacked tempo, and the spacing was broken. Oh, and that vertical game where Shaheed thrives was treated like an emergency valve instead of a weapon. But even through that mess, Shaheed flashed again and again. Now, in 2025, Kellen Moore is taking over as the Saints head coach, and Shaheed should get more targets than in previous years, and with Chris Olave lining up outside, single coverage looks should be the norm for Shaheed. Now, for the first time in his career, Javonte Williams is alone in the backfield. There's no Gordon, no Pirine, and no split carries, just the job and a Dallas offense that's begging for a bruiser. 4 years in Denver gave us glimpses, flashes of dominance, a brutal knee injury, and way too many committees. Now, he finally gets volume and red zone work, and the market still has him at RB36, the lowest ranked Week 1 starter in the entire NFC East, so let that sink in. This isn't some rebuild, this is Dallas, where every lead back becomes a fantasy weapon. Look at DeMarco Murray, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. Even in down years, they're still producing. Now it's Javonte's turn. With CeeDee Lamb pulling the safeties and George Pickens stretching corners, defenses can't stack the box. That means nickel looks, light fronts, and easy lanes. And when Javonte gets space, does he punish people.
Bridgewater checks it short. Williams backpedaling, makes the catch. Oh, the spin into the end zone for the touchdown.
In his second year back from knee surgery, he posted nearly 1,000 scrimmage yards and caught 52 passes in 2024. Williams isn't a bruiser with stone hands. This is a 3-down back with feel, a 50-catch floor, and the ability to break arm tackles in the second level. If Javonte logs even 70% of red zone touches, he's beating this ADP by Halloween. Now, if you're trying to win your fantasy league with one pick in round 14, take the fastest guy in the room who's one snap away from 15 carries a game. Jalen Wright will start 2025 as insurance, but I can promise you he'll be the most electric contingency plan in fantasy football. Drafted by Miami, he joins a backfield built on speed and schemed for explosions. With Devon Achane as the lead back, Wright is in the perfect spot to thrive without needing the full workload. Why? Well, because Miami doesn't want Achane sitting out 6 games with an injury like he did in 2023. Mike McDaniel has been clear. They want rotation, freshness, and explosiveness, not volume for volume's sake. And that's exactly where Wright fits in. He doesn't need to be built like a tank because he's built to outrun defenders before contact even happens. And in Miami's system, that's a feature, not a flaw. If Achane misses time or even shifts into a slot or gadget role like he did at times last year, Wright becomes the primary early down option. And here's the wild part. He's being drafted as running back 53. That's behind multiple backups. Guys who need 3 injuries and a miracle to matter. Wright only needs a game script because if he gets 10 carries on the edge in Miami, 2 of them are going for 20+ yards. This is the most run-friendly offense in the NFL, and Jalen Wright is walking into it with 4.3 speed, a 1,000-yard SEC resume, and absolutely zero buzz. Now, 2 years ago, Dak Prescott was a locked-in top 5 fantasy quarterback, but now he's QB 12, pick number 96. Now, that's not just disrespect to me, that's criminal. Another top 3 finish, another year of elite production, and the market still acts like he's broken. Prescott's been a starter for 8 years, 6 top 12 fantasy finishes, so no guesswork, no hype cycles, just results. In 2023, he threw for 4,516 yards and 36 touchdowns, finishing QB3 overall in fantasy. He ranked top 5 in passer rating, red zone efficiency, and completion percentage, and he did all of that with a wide receiver 2 room held together by duct tape and unfulfilled expectations. This year, he's got 2 legit alpha wideouts in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. That's not just a weapon upgrade, that's a fantasy nuke. Love or hate the Cowboys, Prescott produces when the weapons are there. From Amari to Dez to CD, when you give him real options, he goes top 5. And now, with new head coach Brian Schottenheimer committing to a more vertical attack and Javonte Williams keeping defenses honest on the ground, Dak's floor is back. But more importantly, his ceiling just went ballistic. So why is he falling in drafts? Well, because people love the shiny stuff, rookies, runners, and Twitter bait. But if you want a quarterback who's averaged 30 touchdowns and 4,300 plus yards per 17 games, who now has 2 wide receiver 1 caliber weapons, and who's somehow still sitting there in round 9, this is your last chance QB1. There's no guesswork, no bounce back narrative, just bankable volume and a proven system. And when your league mates are flipping a coin on Caleb Williams hoping he's Patrick Mahomes 2.0, you'll be sitting on the biggest QB steal in the draft. Because Prescott isn't looking for a breakout in 2025, he's coming for respect.
Here we go!
These are the guys that everyone laughs at in the 10th round until they're dropping 20 on you in week 3. They don't need 12 targets or a headline, they just need snaps and the right moment to blow up. Every one of these players checks the box. They're a late round ADP, they have elite efficiency or at least top end speed, and they have a realistic opportunity and total disrespect from the consensus. You won't hear them hyped up on morning shows, but you will hear about them when your league mates are scrambling to the waiver wire 1 week too late. So here's the move. Draft them now before the world wakes up. And if you want more of these under the radar breakdowns, deep dives, and league winning strategies, like the video, subscribe to SnapCount, and hit the bell so you never miss a chance to beat your draft board. Because around here, we don't just watch football, we count every snap.